What if I told you that somewhere in the world, right now, a song is still echoing in people's hearts long after most hits would have faded away? Not because it was loud for a moment, not because it had one lucky viral peak, not because people were simply curious, but because the person singing it left behind something deeper, something that listeners could not let go of. And what if I told you that the same artist who is rewriting chart history with pure staying power is also still being remembered, adored, and celebrated for a single visual era so striking that fans talk about it like it was magic? Because when it comes to Jimin, nothing about his impact is temporary. Not the music, not the emotion, not the image, not the memory. Today we need to talk about something truly fascinating. The way Jimin is proving, once again, that his power as a solo artist goes far beyond a comeback cycle, far beyond one trending moment, and far beyond what people usually expect from pop success. Because this is not just a story about numbers, this is a story about endurance. It's a story about connection. And in a really beautiful way, it's also a story about how one artist can remain unforgettable, both through sound and through presence. So let's begin with the achievement that has fans feeling proud, emotional, and honestly a little overwhelmed. Jimin's song, Who, the title track from his second solo album, Muse, has now entered Billboard's Global Excl US chart for 85 weeks. 85 weeks. Just pause there for a second and really let that sink in. Because in today's music world, attention moves fast. Songs explode overnight, dominate conversations for a few days, maybe a few weeks, and then get replaced by the next new thing. That's how the industry usually works. It rewards speed, novelty, and constant turnover. But every once in a while, a song comes along that refuses to disappear. Not because people are forcing it to stay alive, not because of empty noise, but because it continues to mean something. That's exactly what Who has done. With this achievement, Who has become the first and only K-pop solo song to spend 85 weeks on the Billboard Global Excl US chart. That is not just impressive. That is historic. That is the kind of milestone that changes the way people talk about longevity in K-pop solo music. And honestly, there is something so poetic about that happening with Jimin. Because Jimin has always been the kind of artist people feel, not just listen to. His voice carries tenderness and ache. His performances carry emotion even before he says a word. And when he releases a song, it often doesn't behave like a song that exists for one promotional era. It settles into people's lives. It becomes part of their late-night playlists, their healing playlists, their quiet drives, their lonely moments, their hopeful moments. That is what longevity often looks like in real life. Not just chart positions, but emotional attachment. Not just numbers rising, but listeners returning, again and again and again. And that is why this record feels so special. Because 85 weeks does not happen by accident. A record like this can only happen when a song creates a bond strong enough to survive time. And Who didn't just survive, it shined. The song actually reached #1 on Billboard's Global Excl US chart twice, which makes its journey even more powerful. This wasn't a case of a song debuting high and quietly fading with no real story. This was a song that truly made an impact, reached the top, and then kept holding on to global attention in a way that very few songs ever do. That is a very different kind of success. There is explosive success, and then there is enduring success. Explosive success gets headlines. Enduring success builds legacy. And Jimin right now is building legacy. But what makes this story even more incredible is what comes next. Because the second longest charting K-pop solo song on the same chart is also a Jimin song. Yes, also Jimin. His previous title track, Like Crazy, from his first solo album, Face, charted for 68 weeks, making it the second longest-running K-pop solo song there. So let's really take in what that means. Jimin is not just at the top, he is standing there beside another version of himself. His own music is occupying multiple places in this conversation about history. And to me, that says something very emotional about his journey as a soloist. Because there are artists who achieve one iconic moment. That alone is already difficult. But then there are artists who prove that their first big moment was not a fluke, not a miracle, not an exception. They come back and do it again, maybe even bigger, maybe even longer, maybe even more meaningfully. That's what Jimin has done. Like Crazy was already huge. It already proved that Jimin could carry a song on his own and captivate listeners around the world. And then Who came and said, somehow there is still more to say, there's still another level to reach, there is still another chapter waiting. That is not ordinary growth. That is the mark of an artist whose solo identity is becoming stronger and clearer with every release. And maybe one of the most meaningful details in all of this is that both Like Crazy and Who achieved these milestones without collaborations with famous Western artists. That matters. Because when people talk about global chart success, there is often this assumption that to truly break through internationally, especially as a solo artist from K-pop, you need some kind of outside support, some kind of familiar Western cosign, some kind of collaboration strategy to push things further. But Jimin's songs stood on their own. His voice stood on its own. His artistry stood on its own. His emotional resonance stood on its own, and fans know exactly why that is so meaningful. Because it shows that the connection between Jimin and listeners is direct. It is not borrowed. It is not dependent. It is not a temporary bridge built by trend-chasing decisions. It is built on who he is, what he sounds like, and how deeply people respond to what he creates. That kind of success feels very personal. And while Who is making history as a song, Jimin's album Muse is also continuing an extraordinary run of its own. According to the article, Muse has now spent 86 weeks on Billboard's World Albums chart, extending its record as the longest-running K-pop solo album on that chart. Again, longest running. That phrase says everything. It means the album's life did not end when the initial comeback promotions ended. It means people didn't stop caring after the first burst of excitement. It means the album kept breathing. And that is one of the most beautiful things that can happen to a piece of music. Because albums are intimate. They are bigger than one single. They hold an atmosphere, a story, a mood, a version of the artist at a certain point in life. When an album continues to chart for this long, it tells us that people are not just attached to one catchy song. They are attached to the world the artist created. They want to stay in that world. They want to revisit it. They want to feel it again. And with Muse, that world clearly meant a lot to people. The article also points out that Muse previously set the record for the most #1 placements on the World Albums chart, reaching #1 8 times. 8 times. Not once, not twice. 8. That is the kind of consistency that speaks volumes. It tells us that Muse was not just respected, it was repeatedly embraced, repeatedly chosen, repeatedly lifted back to the top. And honestly, when you place all these achievements together, you begin to see the shape of something bigger than a successful album era. You see a solo career being carved into history in real time. You see Jimin building a body of work that people cannot dismiss as one lucky run. You see proof that his artistry is not only impactful, but sustainable. And maybe that is what makes this so emotional for fans. Because many people have always believed in Jimin's power. They've seen his magnetism on stage, they've felt the emotion in his voice, they've watched him capture entire arenas with a glance, a note, a movement. But there is something especially moving about seeing the wider music world forced to acknowledge that power in numbers that are too big to ignore. It feels like validation. Not because fans needed permission to believe in him, but because now the history books are starting to reflect what they already knew. That Jimin is special, that Jimin lasts, that Jimin leaves a mark. But then, just when you think this story is entirely about charts and music, another piece of the puzzle appears, and it reminds you why Jimin's influence feels so unique. Because alongside all of this chart history, Jimin has also ranked #1 in a poll for the idol who looks best with silver hair. Now, some people might hear that and think it's just a fun visual headline, but if you know Jimin, you know it's more than that. Because Jimin has always had a relationship with style, color, and visual transformation that feels almost artistic in itself. He doesn't just change hair colors because it looks nice. Somehow, every color becomes part of an era, part of a feeling, part of how fans remember a certain stage, a certain performance, a certain version of him. And silver hair? Silver hair is one of those legendary Jimin chapters that people never really moved on from. The article describes why fans respond so strongly to it. Jimin's fair skin, his soft yet masculine features, and the mysterious aura he carries so naturally allow him to harmonize with almost any color. But silver especially seems to unlock something unforgettable in him. There is a softness to it, a dreamlike quality, an almost unreal elegance. And at the same time, there's strength in it too. He doesn't look fragile in silver. He looks mesmerizing, like someone glowing with a quiet kind of power. It's no surprise fans have given him nicknames like Tone Destroyer, Human Pantone, and Guangato Palette. Those names sound playful, but they also say something real. Jimin has that extremely rare ability to wear colors in a way that doesn't feel costume-like. The color becomes part of his expression. He makes it feel alive. The polls specifically connected his silver hair to Pantone's soft white tone, Cloud Dancer, and that feels almost too perfect. Because when people think of silver-haired Jimin, they often remember not just a hairstyle, but an atmosphere, something airy, ethereal, elegant, and slightly mysterious. And the article brings up two moments fans still treasure deeply: the Blood, Sweat, and Tears promotions in 2016 and the Melon Music Awards in 2018. Those were not just casual appearances, those were moments. Moments where Jimin's silver hair seemed to intensify everything people already found captivating about him. His performances during Blood, Sweat, and Tears already carried temptation, artistry, sensuality, and emotional tension. Add silver hair to that, and suddenly he looked almost mythic, like a figure from a dream, impossible to fully describe, impossible to forget. Then again, at the Melon Music Awards, that silver-haired image returned and reminded everyone just how deeply one visual era can stay in collective memory. And that's what's so interesting here. Years can pass, new songs can come out, new eras can arrive, new hair colors can appear, but silver-haired Jimin still lives in people's minds like it happened yesterday. That says a lot, because in the same way that Who is proving its staying power on the charts, silver-haired Jimin is proving a different kind of staying power in pop culture memory. One is measured in weeks. The other is measured in the way fans still talk about it with affection years later. And both point to the same truth. Jimin creates impressions that last. Even international media picked up on the fascination. The Indonesian media outlet IDN Times reportedly highlighted Jimin's silver hair extensively, even sharing a fan reaction that described him as having the charisma of a silver-haired prince. And honestly, that description feels so perfectly Jimin. A prince, yes, because there's grace. Silver-haired, yes, because there's fantasy. But charisma is the most important word there. Because Jimin's beauty has never been passive, it pulls you in, it tells a story, it makes you feel like there is emotion behind the image. That's why people remember it. And this is where these two articles come together in such a satisfying, emotional way. At first glance, they seem like completely different topics. One is about Billboard history, global charts, song longevity, and album records. The other is about visuals, silver hair, style, and fan admiration. But underneath, both stories are saying the exact same thing. Jimin lingers. His music lingers in playlists, on charts, in people's emotions. His image lingers in memory, in fandom conversations, in iconic performance history. That is a very rare quality for any artist to have. Some artists are known for sound. Some artists are known for visuals. Some artists dominate for a moment and then fade with the season. But Jimin has this unusual, almost beautiful duality, where both his artistry and his aura seem to leave a lasting imprint. That is why his solo journey feels so compelling to watch. Because every new record doesn't just say he is successful, it says he is lasting. Every fan poll doesn't just say he is admired, it says he is remembered. And when an artist becomes both lasting and memorable, that is when they start becoming larger than the moment they are in. That is when they become iconic. And maybe that's what makes this era of Jimin feel so emotional. You're not just watching a singer release music, you're not just watching a celebrity look beautiful. You're watching someone quietly build a legacy made of emotion, loyalty, artistry, and unforgettable presence. You're watching someone whose songs continue speaking long after release, whose album keeps finding listeners week after week, whose face, whose aura, whose silver-haired image from years ago still sparks reactions like it never left. That is powerful. And in a world that moves so quickly, where everything is constantly changing and attention is always shifting, there is something incredibly moving about seeing one artist continue to hold people's hearts this firmly, because it means what he created was real. Real enough to last 85 weeks, real enough to break records, real enough to stay beautiful in memory years later, real enough that people still return, still vote, still stream, still remember, still feel. So yes, Jimin's Who making history on Billboard is massive. Yes, Muse continuing to extend its long-running record is incredible. Yes, his ranking as the idol who looks best with silver hair is another reminder that his visual impact is on a level of its own. But maybe the biggest takeaway is something even simpler and even more meaningful than all of that. Jimin does not just create attention, he creates attachment. And attachment is why songs survive. Attachment is why albums endure. Attachment is why a hairstyle from years ago still feels legendary. Attachment is why an artist can remain present in people's minds even when time keeps moving forward. That is the heart of this entire story. Not just fame, not just popularity, not just headlines, but a bond. A bond between artist and audience so strong that it keeps showing up in different forms, in streams, in charts, in votes, in memories, in the way fans talk about him, like he is not just someone they admire, but someone whose art became part of their emotional world. And that is why Jimin's name keeps returning to the conversation. Because he stays in the charts, he stays in the spotlight, he stays in memory. And maybe most importantly of all, he stays in people's hearts. So when we look at these two stories together, maybe what we're really seeing is not just another week of achievements for Jimin. Maybe we are seeing a portrait of who he has become as a solo artist, an artist whose voice can travel across the world and keep people listening for 85 weeks, an artist whose album can keep breaking records long after release, an artist whose silver hair from years ago can still make fans smile like they're seeing it for the first time, an artist who turns both music and image into something unforgettable. And honestly, that kind of presence cannot be manufactured. It has to be felt. So the next time someone asks what makes Jimin so special, maybe the answer is this. It's not just that he shines, it's that he lasts. And sometimes that is even more powerful. Because plenty of stars know how to appear, but only a few know how to remain. And Jimin, he remains. He remains in the charts, he remains in memory. He remains in the emotions of the people who continue to find comfort, beauty, fascination, and meaning in everything he gives. That is why this moment matters. That is why this record matters. That is why even something like silver hair becomes part of a larger story. Because with Jimin, every detail becomes another reminder that his impact is not fleeting. It is living, it is ongoing, it is unforgettable, and I think that is the most beautiful part of all. So tell me in the comments, when you think about Jimin's lasting power, what comes to your mind first? Is it the way Who keeps making history? The way Muse keeps extending its legacy? Or the way silver-haired Jimin still feels like one of the most iconic images in K-pop? Whatever your answer is, one thing feels undeniable. Jimin is not just having a moment, he is becoming a memory that the world keeps holding on to.